Mavericks this upcoming season. So guess what? We'll talk about it today on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team. Just 2 weeks away from Mavericks Media Day. It is Kyrie Irving season preview show as we get ready for this upcoming year and discuss the importance of Kyrie Irving and what he means to this team, as well as a look ahead to this year. Plus, a little bit later on, we'll dial up the Stein line with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, on all things Mavericks as we get ready for training camp, less than 2 weeks away on this magical Monday. Tim Cato, as my daughter dubbed it this morning on the way to school. What's going on?
So much. How are you? How was your week, days in Vegas?
It was incredible. We'll actually have a chance to talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but happy to be back with my guys in studio.
Are you still in the black?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. And that was intentional. So we're all good to go. Bank account straight and get ready for another week of DLLS Mavs. Bobby Carella, how are we?
Good, man. It's like it's officially the calm before the storm. Basketball is a couple weeks away.
Does it feel like it? Does it feel like, basketball's around? It smells like it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No,
cool.
it definitely feels like it. We've reached the Rico run highlights, and players are back in the facility, and I mean it's that time of year, man. The Dirk tennis event is always like the unofficial, like the soft launch of basketball season.
And we are right around the corner. The Mavericks, in fact, play their first preseason game, gentlemen, 3 weeks from today, 21 days away, and we've got Mavericks basketball.
I do want to make it a point here to mention, Kevin, last week we had a lot of different people hosting shows.
That's right.
And none of them did as well as you just do on an average Tuesday in December. So shout out to you. Friday show, I'll own it. Unmitigated disaster. Okay. Probably the most haphazardly assembled and executed show that we've ever done before. I recommend you check it out and let me know in the comments if you liked it. But I would say last week's DLLS Mavs experience was just an unhinged one. It's good to be back to normal though.
Well, it's good to be back here with you as well. Tanner back with us as well, coming back from vacation. Good to have our guy back as we are pretty much all together for today. Let's get into it because we've got a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to one Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving last year suffering a torn ACL back on March 3rd against the Sacramento Kings, and things really changed from there among what was a number of injuries last year, and also including that one thing that happened on February 1st. But at the same time, before Kyrie was injured, playing at an all-NBA level, and was playing at a level that we hadn't seen from him really in a few years, given the production, the usage that was required of him. Unfortunately, that all came to a halt when he tore his ACL back on March 3rd.
He was awesome. He was having an awesome season. He was having his best season in years. And, it's tough to preview a player when, tell me if you've heard this before, we don't know when he's going to come back from his ACL injury. And we are talking in the absence of that information, of that evidence, of how he's going to look when he's back, of what he's going to be asked to do, of how many games he can play. Is he going to be able to play back-to-backs? Is he going to be able to play, well over 30 minutes? Is it going to be, is he just going to be, is he going to look right? Is he physically going to be ready? Is he going to be rusty? You can be physically correct, and you can still also just not have touch, not have all these other elements that make up a good basketball player that allows Kyrie Irving to be what he was last season before his injury, which is one of the best players in the NBA. And, this is obviously as important, probably the most important question, at least on the court question for the Dallas Mavericks is Kyrie Irving. What is he going to look like? Who is he going to be? When is he going to get back? And how is the team going to fare without him? But as we focus on Kyrie, I mean, some of this, I assume we're just going to kind of exalt how good he was last year, how good he can be, how good he has been as a Dallas Maverick. And certainly, as a locker room guy, somebody who's going to be around the team every day, at this point of his ACL recovery, I assume he's on the road pretty much, he's going to be on the road trips, he's going to be around, he's going to be present. And, there is a benefit, there is a plus for that as well. But, when you think about Kyrie, so many of the questions are, how good was he last year, and what is it, what are the measurements that we're looking for him to get back to when he does return that tells us, is he right or not? Is this the old Kyrie or not? Because I don't think any of us have overwhelming doubt that he's not going to be, some, near most or near all of who he was before the injury. I think we're all pretty confident that he, at this point of his career, is the type of guy who is going to, make sure that he returns as close to physically possible. And, even if it's not 100%, if you get 95% of Kyrie before the ACL back, I think everybody would take that in a heartbeat. But what are we looking for? What does he need to get back to? I think that is maybe the question that allows us to build off, what are we expecting? What are we looking for?
The thing he's trying to get back to is what makes him so singularly great, which is this combination of the ability to just absolutely humiliate defenders with 10x combo, dribble moves, spin moves, change of pace, change of direction, change of speed, create a finishing ability, but also even when he's not able to create the advantage, he's still able to score anyway. That's what makes him so good, is that he makes all of this stuff look so easy when it's actually impossible. So over the last 2 seasons, so 23-24 and 24-25, 91 players in the NBA have taken at least 1,000 heavily contested field goal attempts. Kyrie has taken 1,750. So a lot of guys have taken fewer than him. But of the 91 guys that have taken at least 1,000 heavily contested shots, Kyrie's expected field goal percentage, expected effective field goal percentage on these shots is 21st worse. So he's taken a lot of really tough shots where even if the average player took these shots, they would shoot so terribly bad. But Kyrie outperforms his expected effective field goal percentage on these shots by more than 7%, which is a top 10 mark of those guys. And another player that's in the top 10 whose expected EFG was even worse than Kyrie's was Luka. And so, again, for 2 years, the Mavs had this backcourt that was able to either bend defenses to their will or score even if they had them covered. And now the Mavs have none of those guys. But even if it is just Kyrie, that's still enough to get by because you have other guys that can score around the rim. And, hopefully you have some shooting, and hopefully Cooper's able to make some tough shots, and, AD can make some tough shots and all of that. But that's what makes Kyrie so great, is that he can turn nothing into something from anywhere on the floor. And even if the nothing just stays nothing, he can still score at a high level.
Find a way for sure. Kyrie last year in 50 games averaged nearly 25 points per game, nearly 5 rebounds per contest, over 4.5 assists per game, while shooting over 47% from the field. Of course, Irving signed a 3-year, $119 million deal this summer, declining what was his $43 million player option. A player, gentlemen, that will turn 34 this coming March, and a player that has depended a lot throughout the course of his career on his ability to get by defenders, an incredible shot maker, a tough shot taker, and a guy that can score anywhere on the floor. But I think inside the locker room, the leader that he's become since coming to this team cannot be understated as well, because he has become, in a lot of ways, an emotional leader for this team, a team that follows his direction in a number of areas, and not having his presence on the floor is going to be massive as this team tries to navigate their early portion of their season without him. And then once he gets reintegrated back into this team, how quickly can this team find their rhythm in order to make the kind of run to the postseason that they believe they are capable of once he does come back?
A huge part of Dallas staying alive last season up until his injury was him elevating himself into a number one type role. And, in some ways, he was awesome during that stretch. When he came back, I guess if you include the Denver game he came back, this is when he had the back injury. And he returned, but he averaged, over 25 points and his percentages took a little bit of a dip. He was closer to 50. He was 51% on twos, below 35% on
He
threes.
really struggled from three last year for like a stretch there.
Well, he was like 50% to start the year.
Yeah, I know. He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
like it was.
Yeah.
But then like it was amazing. It was like a min max.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it was just the total amount of burden that he was facing. He was also playing the most minutes in the NBA down that stretch.
Yeah.
And I do think that got to him a little bit, to the point that he only became an about average efficiency type guy. He has always been an uber efficient player. He has always been way above league average in terms of true shooting, despite not getting a ton of free throws, as we know. This is not somebody who just constantly parades to the line. He's not somebody who seeks out contact, maybe even to his detriment. And so from January 14th, when he returns from the back scare, and he shoots very poorly against Denver in a game that I still don't understand why he played in it, rather than the Pelicans game one after. But yeah, I mean, his shooting fell to about 58%. Typically he's at 61, 62, which is several points above average, while also being one of the highest volume shooters, in the NBA. And all of that is just a testament to like this guy, maybe solved basketball is a little strong, but pound for pound, maybe, like he's not.
He's just the most technically gifted
maybe
player
he has
like ever.
solved basketball.
He is
Like-
just it's
like
unbelievable.
Kevin Durant is one of the best basketball players we've ever seen in our entire lives. He's also really tall and just shoots over people sometimes, which is like he's top 5 in skill. But in terms of like absolute skill, like Kyrie is just about as close as you can get to somebody who, can do whatever he wants, dribbling the ball, shooting the ball. One of the smoothest, one of the cleanest jump shots in the NBA, can go find so many different shots against the very best defenders. What's coming to mind right now is the series against the Timberwolves, where he would still just like find step backs and find these like crazy pull-ups with Jaden McDaniels draped all over him, and he still find ways to get that shot up and to make clutch baskets for Dallas.
He's a foot shorter than McDaniels too. Like he's just unbelievable, man. He's unbelievable. The footwork is unbelievable. The finishing with either hand, like he has decided to just shoot everything with his left hand just to see if he can do it. Like
Yeah,
he just is.
yeah.
He's a one of a kind player.
The audacity that he has as a shot taker is unbelievable. I mean, as you were starting to bring that up, the shot that will forever be etched in my mind is that shot he hit over Nikola Jokic to win that game against the Denver Nuggets, going full left hand from 20 feet, falling the other way. It was just an incredible shot to even dare to take, let alone make it. As you were describing it, the skill of Kyrie Irving, the phrase that always comes to mind for me is that Kyrie Irving is your favorite basketball player's favorite basketball player. There is not a single person in the league that doesn't laud and love the game that is Kyrie Irving, for not only what he is as a player, but how he has continued to change the game with the way that he handles himself off the floor from a basketball perspective. And players have a ton of respect around the league for him and what he has done. And obviously we're going to miss him until he does come back. When he does, the complexion of the Mavericks will look very different given what they are expected to do this upcoming year. Kyrie Irving is going to be a big part of that once he does return, which we'll discuss on the other side of our break here as we continue our Kyrie Irving season preview. How did the Mavericks continue to stem the tide without him, and what could it look like when he does return to this team as they make a playoff push? All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Been a wild financial week for your boy. Okay, the stonks are going crazy in a good way, but before that, they were going crazy in kind of a bad way. I ate out a lot, and happy hour became happy hours for me more than once this weekend. And I'm also moving money out of a 401k into an IRA, and I've got a traditional and a Roth, and I'm trying to figure all that out too. Like, I got a lot of
big brain over there.
I got a lot of balls in there, and only 2 hands to juggle them. All right, but luckily I got Monarch Money to help me. It's my personal financial command center. Every single thing that I'm doing, all the places that my money's in, is all on one convenient dashboard that I can look at. Monarch can help me set some goals, figure out, hey, okay, if I want to save some money, then I better stop spending money here. Here's how much you're spending, you bubblehead. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DLLS.
If you love going to concerts, sporting events, college football games, NFL games, you see, if you did, you saw the Cowboys beat the New York Giants in an overtime thriller yesterday. You got to use Game Time to get your tickets. With Game Time Picks, it allows you to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They've got panoramic seat views, so you can pick out the perfect seat for you and your family to enjoy this year's college football action. And they've got all-in pricing, so you're not surprised when you get to checkout about any hidden fees. And they've got the lowest price guaranteed when it comes to your Game Time ticket coverage and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. If you do find something that's higher, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference as well. So make sure you take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply. You can create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, gentlemen?
Game time.
Game time.
So we've talked a lot about why they need Kyrie, but I think that the beauty of having Kyrie on our team is that we can kind of skip ahead to the part about what happens whenever he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Is Stein joining us the next segment, or is he
Next segment?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to interrupt your
Stein's
introduction.
joining us.
Now, Stein, just stay in the waiting room, buddy. Sit this one out.
He will be joining us in our next segment to discuss all things Dirk Nowitzki's Tennis Foundation Classic that happened this weekend and what's coming over the next couple of weeks as the Mavericks get ready for NBA training camp and media day exactly 2 weeks away from today. But let's go ahead and jump into it. As far as Kyrie Irving is concerned, what does that begin to look like once he does return from this team, as he is coming back from the torn ACL, and how they begin to integrate him into this lineup, especially knowing guys like cooperflagg, hopefully a healthy Anthony Davis. The rhythm of this team will change quite a bit once Irving does eventually come back.
That's where I disagree. I don't think that anything changes. Like, so for a player like Luka, for example, or a player like Giannis or LeBron, or there are others, I mean, Jokic, like those guys are so central to the offense that like whenever they come back, everything changes. Like for better or worse, usually with them, it's for better. But like you cannot just drop a guy like Luka onto a team and not have the team dramatically change. I feel like Kyrie kind of has the ability to like blend in while still getting his game off. Like the Mavs don't really have to change anything with him. Like I think everything that they do with, granted his skill set is different, but everything that they're going to do with Clay or with Cooper or with Brandon Williams or heck, even Anthony Davis, like Kyrie's a better post-up player than most bigs in the NBA.
Which
like,
he's very underrated for. In his
they
post-game.
can
Yes.
throw him anywhere and he can fit in and do the thing. Like I don't think the Mavs will have to change at all. And so, you know, for them to be running 50, 55 games of, you know, a certain kind of offense, they're not going to have to throw out the whole playbook. Like everything will get better and they'll have to change the rotation, but they can just kind of do the same thing. Kyrie will just make them better at everything.
And Kyrie is kind of a chameleon in that way, where he prides himself on being someone who is a shapeshifter, who can blend into any offensive style. That, you know, he can be an off-ball player and an on-ball player. That, you know, if you need him to dominate touches, dominate the rock. When Dallas had every single player on their team injured, you know, down the, you know, in the middle of last season, he was playing a very heliocentric style because they didn't even have the players and the bodies and the numbers to, you know, even run another type of offense, run another type of way. But we've also seen Kyrie, you know, almost, you know, it almost like sometimes it almost looks like he's avoiding the ball to make a point. And I don't mean that, you know, I don't think I ever saw that in detriment of the Mavs offense overall. Certainly, there's been times where you could look at Kyrie and ask him to be a little bit more demonstrative. But broadly speaking, you know, I guess it was the playoffs. They would, you know, it was like every first quarter.
Became a bit, dude.
Yeah, he would have
at
2 or 4
halftime. He has like
points.
4.
Yes.
Like, dude,
they're
Mavs are down
35.
12. We need you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, every.
And Kid would talk about this sometimes during post, because like getting Kyrie going a little bit quicker in these games because of what he means to the offense, especially.
But it was almost good because Luka, even whenever Luka's at his best, his fourth quarter percentages are lower than they are in the first half. So like let Luka go crazy in the first quarter, let Kyrie go crazy in the fourth quarter. Boom.
And let Kyrie be the closer, yeah.
But I bet if Kyrie played with a guy that was better in the fourth quarter than he was in the first quarter, Kyrie would do the Josh Howard thing and just take over the first quarter. Because that's just what the game needs. He's so good at answering the question that the games ask him. You know, like that is just it is a unique trait to him, I think, and to him alone. Of all the superstars in the NBA, He does whatever is needed, not whatever he wants to do, and that is way different.
I'll offer up one more superstar who it reminds me of. Jimmy Butler is very much.
Ooh,
like that.
okay,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Jimmy Butler is somebody.
Feels like he can be detrimentally passive though.
He can be. I think in the past,
To prove a point,
some fan bases would probably say the same about Kyrie. We have not seen that in Dallas.
Mm.
But I would agree that Jimmy Butler is somebody who has a knack for what needs to be done. Not what he needs to do, but what just needs to be done by the team. He fills in, whatever his teammates are not accomplishing. Oftentimes it's just scoring points, a pretty important part of things. But, he is very able to be that. I think Kyrie is very able to be that. He is somebody who's a winner, somebody who, just has that, that specialness. Playoff Jamal Murray, Sarah says, yeah, that's another similar like guy who turns it on when needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very special to have players who have that quality. It's not many NBA players who, we talk about the mastery of basketball that Kyrie absolutely has. You have to have a mastery to be able to exert, like kind of choose when to exert your influence over a game. That is maybe the highest mastery there is.
And have the IQ to be able to know when and when not to take over games.
Yeah, I can go to the court and play against like 6th graders, and I'm still playing, I'm still trying every possession. I don't have total control of everything happening. And Kyrie's doing this against players larger and faster and taller and at the very highest level of the sport. And he still knows how to channel his impact into a game.
So the question that I have, and I'm sure I want the question to be answered by you in the chat as well, are we putting too much pressure on Kyrie's return when he does come back to help this team get to where they want to go? Because typically when athletes come back from a torn ACL, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever the sport may be, it usually takes an athlete a year out from the injury to kind of get back to themselves from a physical and a performance standpoint. Are we asking too much from him in a short window to be able to be that player that we have discussed with him, to have that by the time the Mavericks need him to make a run?
Are we? I'm on record that Kyrie Irving, if you want to take all of next season off, if that's what's right for your body, by all means.
Yeah.
We are not.
I'm on record. Kyrie, I need you out there November 3rd, buddy.
But that's to say, like, I feel like some of that is out there in terms of like, hey, as soon as Kyrie's back, we need to have him at 100% ready to go. And I don't think that's just a realistic ask.
I know you mean the royal we.
Yeah,
I think the question is, I think the most is the fan base putting too much? I don't think Kyrie cares about the fan base. I don't think it matters.
Okay, add some context there.
I don't think Kyrie cares if the fan base does need him back sooner than he feels he's ready to come back to the court.
Think Kyrie cares a lot about the fan base.
Okay.
I would agree.
I see what you mean.
Yes.
Is Nico Harrison and the Mavericks expecting too much of him? I also don't think so, but I think that's a question worth bringing up because that's something that actually could have an impact. When I've said, like, to me, the biggest question going into next season, the biggest question I have is, what does Nico Harrison expect this season to be, and what does Patrick Dumont expect next season to be, this coming season to be for the Dallas Mavericks? Do they expect it all to come together, even with Kyrie's absence? Because if they do expect it to all come together this year, and then Dallas struggles, Dallas isn't quite as good as they need to be without Kyrie, that they really need him to return to, have this whole thing coalesce and mesh together and meld and be the best that it can be with who you have on the roster. If there is expectations within the franchise, then that's when I'm like, absolutely. I don't know that. We don't know that. Sure. We don't know whether, of course, Dallas publicly is going to say that they expect to be great next season. They expect to be good. They expect to win games while they wait for Kyrie to come back. That's the right stance for, I don't think any franchise, I don't think optically Dallas could come out and say, we're taking a gap year. Optically, there's no way to say that. I understand all that. But if there are expectations for Kyrie to come back and make this better, to make this roster mesh together, like he is, as we've said before, the most important player on, in terms of the uniqueness of the skill set, the way that he brings all the pieces together. He is by far and away, this roster's most important player. If there is expectations for him to be back sooner because things aren't going well, that would be too much expectations. That would be where, it becomes a little bit troubling that they've relied so much or expected so much and then need Kyrie to come and save it. Again, everything I just said rests on multiple conditionals. that we just don't know. And so I'm assuming the best, and no, I don't think anybody is legitimately expecting more of Kyrie. I guess the question is, what does happen if the team is at Christmas, something like, 14-22?
Well, a central point of drama for not the players, but, well, I guess it kind of tangentially involves the players, but for the management and the staff last year was in some cases, the expectation that players returned from injury sooner than either the player felt comfortable with or then sooner than was wise. I mean, Derek Lively was going through warm-ups to play a game on what turned out to be a broken bone in his foot or ankle or whatever. I forget. What was it? Stress reaction?
Wait, who?
D-Live?
In his foot. Yeah.
Stress reaction,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that could have been
Yeah.
terrible. And depending on what you believe about Luka, them wanting him to come back and him saying, I don't know about this just yet. I need 6 weeks versus 2 weeks or whatever. And so, they've obviously made a lot of changes to their training staff and medical team and all that stuff. So hopefully that won't be an issue again. But I mean, oddly enough, there was pressure on more than one player last season to come back quicker than should be the case from an injury, and that pressure was not coming from the player. Normally, the players are the one that are like, "Get me out here, get me out. I want to go. I'm fine. I'll rub some dirt on it. I'm good to go." And the team is like, "Whoa, buddy, this is our 5th game in 7 nights. You need to take the night off." Last year was like the opposite, which is kind of weird. We don't see that very often. So, I mean, we'll see what kind of pressure, if any, that the team puts on him. I'm sure Kyrie's putting pressure on himself too. But I mean, the other thing too is like, I think they're going to really struggle without him. I think that's a pretty lukewarm take. I think they're going to struggle without him, but the risk of him coming back too early, even beyond the medical concerns, would be he comes back and he's just like actively not good, and then they just get worse. So like, you don't want to come back too soon at risk of injuring yourself and at risk of putting your entire career in danger. But also, you don't want to come back too early if you're not a good player, because then you could just drag the team down. So it's this real, like, the catch-22, Tim, is if they are 14-22 or 20-27 and hopes are fading fast, and so you come back too early, risk further injury, and also just risk stinking up the joint, and that would be a double whammy of sadness and sorrow that I hope we don't have to experience.
Right.
I do want to address this comment. Mason Moneyball 41 says, if the Mavs would have kept Luka and Kyrie, still had an ACL injury, would be calling this a gap year? I would say the answer to that personally would be no. And the reason I will use the example, the Mavericks without Kyrie Irving back in 2022 went to the Western Conference Finals with a lineup that it consisted of Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell, among others.
Well, Jalen Brunson, it's some erasure.
My point is, you had a top 5 player in the league. When you have one of those available, like the Celtics will not have Jason Tatum. The Pacers will not have Tyrese Halliburton available. Those teams are in gap years because technically their best players are not going to be available for them this upcoming year. You could debate it, Boston, between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I'll leave that to y'all. But the point is, you're not going to have your best player available. I would not say that this would be a gap year if Luka was still available, because we've seen that he's been able to take, quote-unquote, lesser teams, if you will, deep into the postseason. I think the expectation is a little bit different there. Real quick,
I mean, I'll reply really briefly as well. I mean, what I've said is, like, Dallas needs to understand that this could be a gap year.
Sure.
I've never said I am a little bit lower on the team than some of you guys, but I don't view my lower. I don't view what I feel about the team as like the only outcome that is possible, the only certainty that will happen. I am putting my rough view of the team is that they're going to be a below 500 team until Kyrie gets back and looks like himself again. But there's room for error. There's margin for error on that. They could be a little bit above 500. They're not. I see no scenario where they're running at like a 48 win pace without Kyrie Irving. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong about this, but I could see them being a little bit better. But there are scenarios where this could go poorly. There are scenarios where players remain out. You've got injury prone players, kind of starring on this roster. So, I think it's possible, and I think it's even more possible that this season is not as successful as the organization wants it to be, because we don't know when Kyrie's going to come back. Mm-hmm. And I just think that Kyrie's return as something very close to what he was last season is the key for unlocking this roster and making it make sense.
The Mavericks, when they entered the All-Star break last year, had played 56 games and were 30-26 after those 56 games. Kyrie Irving is to return somewhere around there. It'll be interesting to see where their record is by the time he does come back and what they can do from there. But Kyrie Irving expected to have, once he does return, a big impact on this Mavs team as they try to make a push for the postseason. Let's take our next break here on our show today. When we come back, we dial up the Stein line with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, the Mavs weekend that was, including Dirk Nowitzki's Tennis Foundation Classic, and what is next for this team just 2 weeks away from Media Day. All that and more coming up next.
Today is a great day. Become a diehard. Now, what's funny is yesterday was also a pretty good day. Tomorrow would be an acceptable day as well. But I'm going to tell you, out of these three options, I would just choose today. Like, and I'm sure I'm talking to a lot of you guys who already all are diehards. And we love y'all for that. But I'm sure there's somebody out there who just considered it, has thought about it, wants to become a diehard, maybe doesn't even know anything about it. Actually, there might even be somebody out there who doesn't know anything about it. Let me tell you about it. Let me be the person to let you know about this thing that's going to change your life. So Die Hard is just the next step up of becoming a DLLS supporter. Somebody who is here for, like enjoying and supporting everything we do, but then doing even more. If you become a Die Hard, the 1-year membership, which you can do on alldlls.com, you immediately get access to all of the Die Hard premium content, written content on the website, covering Mavericks, Cowboys, Rangers, Stars. You get a free shirt of your choice from the store. That comes with your membership. Right now, we do have a 20% sale going on for all merch. I think Tanner for merch. I think we have a 20% off all city warehouse sale. Select items are not included in promotion. So not everything, but up to 85% off. All DLLS, everything in the store, everything available. So, that's obviously just an awesome.
Tanner, do you prefer to rip them up or to tear them up?
Either is good, yeah.
Or is it like, do you have to do both? Can you have one without
rip them up, tear them up, sick them.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Either way, Baylor need to win them games, okay?
Anyway, a bunch of that and a bunch more perks for your diehard access. Go to alldlls.com/diehard. Sign up.
Let's get ready to welcome in our national NBA insider. You can dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Of course, it's good to see our buddy Marc Stein here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Marc, what's going on? Good to see you.
What did Tanner do in Chicago? He sounds awful.
Well, that Chicago was last week. This was just a road trip to San Marcos. But yeah,
what did you do in San Marcos?
I won too many blue moons. I don't know.
San Marcos. I've never been there, and it seems like a place where you go to lose your voice.
I've been.
Did you lose your voice?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Wow.
Well, you did better than Tanner.
We're rudderless if Tanner's not at full capacity.
Well, good thing he is playing through injury with us today. So shout out to Tanner for hanging out with us here, doing what he does every day. Marc, let's get into it. We are less than 2 weeks away from Media Day. We'll touch on some things that you had to say just a little bit ago in your latest Substack. But before that, Dirk Nowitzki had his annual Tennis Foundation Classic this weekend and had a star-studded event, if you will, this past week.
Yeah, it was great. It was a blast. It was very nice. He actually asked me to be the Ben and Skin intern for the day, and I did a few courtside interviews to help those guys with their MC duties. Great reunion with Joakim Noah many, many years ago. I have to look up exactly what year it is, but God, it's got to be getting close to a decade now. Joakim Noah and I were actually teammates in a Steve Nash charity soccer match. And Joakim Noah showed up in Le Coq Sportif high tops to play on a very slick outdoor soccer surface. And of course, his father, the tennis great Anik Noah, he always wore Le Coq Sportif during his tennis career. So Mr. Noah showed up in these crazy shoes, not soccer shoes, but he ended up scoring the winning goal in the game. It was the first time I was on a team that actually beat Nash's team. Joakim's goal celebration was legendary, can still remember it. and I hadn't really seen him since then. And he didn't play a ton of tennis growing up because obviously that's a difficult act to follow when your father's won the French Open and goes down as, one of the greatest showmen in the history of the sport. And Joakim Noah also obviously grew to 6'10" or whatever his listed height is. So he's basketball. He had a basketball height, followed his basketball dreams, became a 2-time All-Star. It was fun, really fun just to kind of hang out with him. But obviously from a Mavs perspective, far more interest. I think Ailing Tanner does have queued up the most notable Mavs-related attendee at Dirk's Tennis Classic.
That's right. Cooper Flagg and Dirk Nowitzki meeting each other for the very first time this past weekend at Dirk Nowitzki's Tennis Foundation Classic. A reunion, or I should say a meeting that has been much anticipated among Mavericks fans. Dirk and Coop finally getting together for the first time this weekend, Mark.
Yeah, and look, I think Dirk knew that Cooper Flagg was not a tennis player, although there was one brief moment where Cooper Flagg and Coco Vandeweghe were like kind of keeping the ball, trying to volley the ball and keep it in the air on half the court without using the net. So Cooper did actually pick up a racket, but he didn't get out there on the court to play. But I think Dirk was pretty moved that Cooper just got to town and participated in this event because, as Dirk had said, they hadn't met each other yet. And again, I've only been around the young man a couple times, but every time I see him, I'm just stunned at just how tall he is for a versatile forward. Like when Dirk came in, we knew Dirk was a 7-footer. We knew Dirk was a face the basket 4 man we'd never seen before with 3-point range. But, Cooper's not described in that way. He's more this, Swiss Army knife who can possibly play every position when he rounds out his game, but he's just coming into the game. He's going to start his NBA career as a 2 or 3, most likely, if we're going to assign a position to it. And just for that position, he is a very large young man. And obviously, the NBA strength will have to come with it, but that the size he's going to play the 2 or the 3 at should serve him very well in year 1.
Cooper Flagg also getting a chance to play NBA 2K26 for the first time, getting acclimated with his teammates via video game. He'll have the chance to do that rather soon in the next couple of weeks when training camp opens. We're past Labor Day now. Teams are starting to get back. Players are starting to get back to their facilities. But one thing we've seen over the last several years now is players conducting their own version of mini camps prior to formal training camp. And apparently the Mavericks are no different in this case.
Well, it's interesting. Last season, the Mavs did this in August. I believe, if my memory's right, they did it in Los Angeles. And August is usually when these things happen. The Nuggets did it in August, and we actually heard quite a bit about the various Nuggets. I think Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon were there. Obviously, Jokic was playing in Eurobasket for his country. So these things usually happen in August because, as you mentioned, the day after Labor Day is when you typically see players start to come back to practice facilities to, start getting pickup games going and basically start the pre-camp readying process. But I've actually heard of multiple teams that have done these gatherings this month after Labor Day, which is a little bit surprising. I hadn't heard that in the past. And the Mavs are one of those teams. I reported it, as you said, in my Substack earlier today, my Around the League Monday notes. I was told that this was really at Klay Thompson's behest. Klay Thompson was one of the driving forces to invite everybody who can come out, and they had it in Newport Beach. Klay's home is in South Orange County, so they had it in Newport Beach, closer to where Klay lives, and had a lot of on-court stuff. It's really a bonding thing, which is, I think that's the term I used, a bonding camp. But there's tons of on-court stuff. Now, Anthony Davis obviously is still recovering from his eye surgery. Anthony Davis couldn't participate in the on-court stuff, but I included in my story, I was told that Anthony Davis organized a dinner and basically made sure that all the guys went to dinner at his behest so he could participate in some way. So, again, just interesting that we're seeing some of these things in September now. And, now we're 2 weeks out. Now practice gyms all over the league are filled with players. Obviously, guys who participated in Eurobasket get some time off, but gyms all over the league are starting to fill up. I mean, again, it's media day is 2 days from today. For the 5 teams that are going abroad, media days and opening practices actually start next week. So you're going to start seeing some practice footage. You got the Knicks and the Sixers are playing in Abu Dhabi. You've got the Suns and the Nets playing in Macau. And then the Pelicans are going to Australia to play 2 Australian teams. So all those teams, they're actually going to be back to practice next week. But for the Mavs and the other 24 teams that are not playing abroad to start the exhibition season, September 29th, media day, September 30th, first practices. Of course, for the Mavs, after media day, they're going to have to fly to Vancouver on that Monday so they can start 2 days in Vancouver on September 30th. And look, this is a big meet. It's going to be a huge media day because it's going to be the first chance to actually ask Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis directly for an injury timetable, because we just don't know it on either player. I don't know that we're going to get much in the way of specifics on September 29th, but that's probably our best chance in the near future.
I will say, because when folks listen and watch this, they will focus in, I imagine, on the Anthony Davis portion of this. It was reported on July 8th that he had a procedure to repair that detached retina. Today is September 15th, and as you've reported, he was not able to participate in on-court activities during this bonding camp that they had. Can you alleviate some of that concern for fans who will hear this and see this and think,
I mean, look,
we're 2 weeks
I don't
away from
think
camp
it's
and he's still not doing on-court activities at this point?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise that 5-6 weeks after a surgery to repair a detached retina that he couldn't participate in that on-court mini camp. The reality is we don't know a timetable beyond that at this point. I've tried to get it pinpointed to this point. I've been unsuccessful. Last week, we talked about this in question form, and it was horribly misaggregated because I don't, all this talk about opening night. I don't know what we can't even talk about. Oh, the first benchmark is camp. How much of camp can Anthony Davis participate in? And I don't know if he will be able to participate from the first practice or not. We don't know that yet. That's why I'm saying media day is going to be a big day, because I think that could be our best first indication. Now, maybe, we saw this with the Sixers last week. All of a sudden, the Sixers posted video of Joel Embiid back on the practice floor. We didn't get anything really in the way of specifics there, but at least we actually saw with our own eyes Joel Embiid on the floor, on the practice floor, going through some drills, no brace on his knee. So you can at least infer some things like that. As best that I know, AD is around. He does pop into the facility on occasion. Who knows? Maybe at some point we'll be surprised with a video from the Mavs that shows him on the floor. So I know I know you want me to be able to say Anthony Davis is going to be back on X day. At this point, I'm not able to give you that date, and I don't know when we're going to get it.
So I need everyone to watch and listen with clarity when you watch this back and understand what we're talking about here when it comes to this, because obviously that will be a big point of discussion over the next couple of weeks as we get ready.
We might have to wait till media day, or maybe we won't. Maybe we will get something sooner than that, but the clock has started. Tomorrow is 2 weeks from the first set of 2-a-days. So we're getting close to learning something. And obviously Kyrie Irving is not going to be part of those two-a-days. And we know that Derek Lively also had an off-season procedure. Hopefully, Derek Lively is there for the start of camp. But, I mean, media day is the day to ask directly about the status of, I think, what we would unanimously say are the three most important players on the roster not named Cooper Flagg.
Mark, how's your fantasy team doing?
Don't have a fantasy team, so I'm faring well. But
Undefeated.
I did think of you when James Cook scored a touchdown yesterday.
Hey, James is delivering so far.
He's always
All
got
right?
the Bills on the brain.
James is delivering.
and
Prize
rightfully
Picks,
so.
just go ahead and write me the check. All right.
Mark, we appreciate your time. Good to see you, and we look forward to having you on the show tomorrow.
I will be in studio tomorrow, and then Bobby Carella and I have to share a car ride to a very important meeting. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, we're driving to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or maybe a much closer venue.
Topeka, Kansas.
Okay. Well, y'all have fun and play nice with each
Road
other.
I didn't get a
tripping with
chance-
the
I didn't
Stein
get-
line.
I didn't get a chance to ask you how Vegas was. I guess I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. Save me some time tomorrow that we can talk about Vegas.
I can do that for you. I can do that just for you. Appreciate your time, Mark, as always. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Mark.
That's our National NBA Insider, Marc Stein. Make sure you always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Let's take our final break here on our show today. When we come back, yes, I am back from Vegas. What this UFC commentator had to say about his experience from Game 4 of the Mavericks-Celtics NBA Finals game. It's a wild story. I'll tell you what it is next. But I want you to become part of our DLLS Sports family. Join the over 31,100 subscribers already by commenting, and subscribing to DLLS Sports. Also, we've got an incredible sale going on right now when it comes to our merch. Tim Cato mentioned it a little bit earlier on in our show, our DLLS warehouse sale taking place today. Take 20% off everything in the All City warehouse right now. You can save up to 85% on already marked down sale items right now when you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and check out our incredible merchandise that's available right now, specifically, of course, for DLLS Sports and the DLLS warehouse. Also, we want you to support Big Brothers Big Sisters as well. We are celebrating and supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters all month here. The easiest way that you can do that is to be able to, in lieu of super chats this week, donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters here. Make sure you visit bbbs.org for more information on how you can donate, also on how you can become a big as well to support the community. It takes a little to be big, and we're going to be celebrating them all month here at DLLS Sports and across the All City Network. Also, I was in Vegas this past week. You can also have a chance to go to Vegas with our Cowboys crew November 15th through the 18th. Or maybe not. We'll know. We'll have more information on that later on. But at the same time, a lot of things to still check out. Make sure you go to DLLSsports.com to check out the latest one.
AllDLLS.com, Kevin.
Nah, I'm the one that's not locked in. All DLLS.
What happens? Is there DLLSsports.com?
No. It's definitely.
This site can't be reached.
I'm about to say, I don't want you to go anywhere in the
Don't go to that website.
Bobby's screen just went black.
That's
Yep.
So,
My computer just turned into a lizard.
oh, it's eating me. AllDLLS.com to check out everything that we've got for our stuff here. Let's get into our final segment of the day here on a Monday. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. If you haven't already, like the video and make sure you subscribe to DLLS Sports and download the podcast. Always don't forget to download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there. Before we get into my travels from Vegas, Mark mentioned it during our last segment with him. Dirk Nowitzki had his Tennis Foundation Classic this weekend. Our guy Bobby Carella was in the house. Also, Abby Jones, our resident social media coordinator, was also there as well. Take us inside the building and the facility and what it was like.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was my first time. I wasn't able to go to last year's, which was at the same place. It was T-Bar or Bar T?
T-Bar.
T-Bar M.
T-Bar M in northish Dallas. I don't know. It's on my, well, no, I guess it's outside the 635 loop.
It's outside.
Just barely.
Just slightly north.
Yeah. So it's at 635 and what, Preston?
I've
I
been
think?
twice now.
Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Preston?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's a huge venue. There's this place called the Banner House. Like, it's like a whole complex. it's really bizarre because like you're just driving down the road and then you turn into this side street and then it's just like you're in this massive sprawling estate. It was really impressive. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, they had a band like a kind of like a New Orleans style jazz band that was like marching through the crowd and onto the court to kind of summon everyone to come watch what was going on. Bunch of hors d'oeuvres, and there was a bar, and people are drinking water and not water. It was a good time. Dirk said that there was probably about 1,000 people there.
That's an army.
It seemed like there was a little more than 1,000 to me, but I don't know. It was really cool.
A lot of people there.
It was really cool. The first game was Noah and Nash versus Dirk and who's his teammate? Boris Kojo. And
nice.
Nash was sweaty, dude. That guy was trying super hard. Noah had a couple nice rallies there, but really like the star of the show for me was the dude from Pitch Perfect. Or not Pitch Perfect, Dude Perfect. I wish.
Oh, I wish
the guy from Pitch Perfect was there. I love Pitch Perfect, but one of the brothers from Dude Perfect was there, and he was hitting also like he's like a real honest to goodness tennis player. So I would say the talent at the event has definitely increased over the last few years.
Okay, now that you mentioned it though, are you talking about Adam Devine from Pitch Perfect?
Yeah. Well, there aren't many other male speaking
because he's the
parts in
only
that movie.
central male character that I particularly remember.
I was thinking of Dude Perfect in my head, but I said Pitch Perfect because I just love that movie.
I mean, it's a great movie.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic movie. I saw the sequel. It was okay.
Yeah, Pitch Perfect 2 wasn't. Okay. It didn't hit like.
But Pitch Perfect? Oh, perfect.
Chef's kiss.
It's a Pitch Perfect movie. But yeah, I don't know. It was really fun. If you've never been, go.
Cooper, Flagg, Dirk Nowitzki getting together. What was the reception like when?
If you've never been, go.
That's
You just got to wait 365 days for it.
Yeah, well, if you've never been, get a time machine. Go back. and come up and say hi to me.
It's a fun event. If you hear about it next year and are on the fence next year, if you still remember us talking about it a year from now and are on the fence about it,
we'll probably talk to Dirk about it again next year.
I hope we do.
True. Yeah.
And it's obviously it's not like a free event, but you're supporting his foundation.
Mm-hmm.
His foundation has they've raised they've already given out more than $250,000 to various causes and families and people in need in the community, and also twice annually, once on Mother's Day and once around Thanksgiving. So it's about 6 months apart from each other. Mother's Day in the U.S. is in May. Thanksgiving is in November. They give out meals to families in need at the Hero Center, which I believe is somewhere South Dallas, or Southeast Dallas, I think. Not too sure exactly where it is. But they do food drives, and they also support a lot of other charities and foundations in the DFW area. His foundation also has like an office in Germany, but they have a lot of programs and initiatives that are specifically focused in Dallas, which is pretty cool. I mean, Dirk always says like, this is my home, this is like my second home now. So, he's definitely involved, and his wife, Jessica, gives her a lot of credit as well. Jessica, before meeting Dirk and even after meeting Dirk, was doing nonprofit stuff through the arts with different art museums and things like that. And so she has a lot of connections, and that's kind of like her main passion and driving force in life. So they do some really good stuff, man.
Well, shout out to Dirk Nowitzki and his Tennis Foundation Classic, an annual event he has every year. This year, star-studded with Cooper Flagg, the #1 pick in this year's draft with the Dallas Mavericks. Taking there, obviously, getting some photo time with Dirk as well at the Foundation Classic. So shout out to
Wait a minute. Keep that picture up.
What are you doing? Are you looking for yourself in the picture? Is that what you're doing? This is great. Yeah, this is not great for the podcast.
This is so.
Bobby literally gets out of his chair, walks up to the screen, puts his face on the
I
screen.
am just cropped out of this picture, dude.
Is that what you were doing?
I was like 2 seats out of that frame.
Wow.
So there is a picture of Coop here. I'll show you. I'll pull it up.
You and Cooper have a photo together?
Y'all have a photo together? Okay.
We do, yeah.
So is it together or you are?
No, it's together.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I figured. Okay, it was actually together.
So we got Coop offering up shirts to the people.
Nice.
Okay. And
should have sent these to Tanner so he could have put these.
Zoom in a little more, and that's me.
Oh wow, you're literally
right under his.
Y'all
chin.
took a photo together.
You took a photo together.
We did. Yep.
Got it.
We did. So
awesome.
It was cool. No, I was in the mix. There was a bunch of other people there. Sean Marion was there. Rolando Blackman was there. They weren't playing. They were just watching.
Yeah.
Jamal Mosley was there. Shout out to the coach of the
shout out to
Orlando
Jamal
Magic.
Mosley,
He was in the building, as well as many other dignitaries.
Which Maverick do you think is the best tennis player? Current Maverick.
Oh, I was about to say, because ex-Maverick is clearly Steve Nash.
Clay might be the only one that even plays.
I
Played
feel like
it,
Max Christie has a tennis.
Oh, Max Christie
body.
has played tennis. You know that.
Well, that's a
right?
hell of an assumption. Okay. All right.
No, that dude
No,
has
just look
played
at him.
tennis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One person who wasn't there, Jason Kidd, that's because he was overseas. Everton this weekend. Of course, he's part of their ownership group there, so he was able to take in his first game with Everton in their new stadium over the weekend.
They win?
I did not check the score because all I know is that apparently my Manchester United lost again because somebody jumped in my mentions and was like, poor Kevin, his Manchester United lost again. I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, how about this? Crystal Palace, through 4 matches, has allowed 1 goal this season, and yet they have 1 win and 3 draws.
That's not good enough.
Jeez.
That's
They
not
have
good
4
enough.
goals allowed, they only got 1 win.
That's not good enough. Chris
1
Richards.
goal allowed all year, and
that's
only
tough.
1 win in 4 games.
That's
so
tough.
it's a tough thing, dude.
Look, I just think that you should have given up 0. I think I expect more of Chris Richards
I bet you.
to not ever give up. Anything.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Was it his fault?
Couldn't tell you.
Shout out
didn't see
to Ben.
I don't
joining us
assign
with,
fault to players.
with 5 minutes
Interesting.
left.
I thought some people do.
Just in time to hear this story. So I spent my week in Vegas this past week covering the Canelo Crawford fight. Terrence Bud Crawford becoming the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world in a unanimous decision victory over Canelo Alvarez, a star-studded event throughout the course of the week. If you have a chance to follow me at Kevin Gray Sports, you saw I had a chance to talk to the likes of Matt Barnes, Jeff Teague, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, if you're a pro wrestling fan, which you know that I am and love. But also had a chance to talk to UFC play-by-play man, commentator, and the caller of the fight this weekend, John Anik, and he told me this wild story about when he came to support his Boston Celtics in Game 4 of the NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks, and this is what happened. Before we let you go, I see you got your Joe Mazzulla Boston shirt on.
Let's go, Joe. Oh, that's my mic, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go, Joe.
Yeah, see, that's a little partial for us because, of course, our Dallas Mavericks lost to Joe Mazzulla and the Boston Celtics, a couple seasons ago. You've got a fantastic story that you got to let us know because there wasn't a lot of positivity from that finals, even though the Celtics won that series.
All right, I'm really excited to tell you guys this
Okay.
story in Dallas. And what a fine city, by the way, Dallas.
Thank you so
Texas,
much. We
USA.
appreciate that.
So one of our IT guys with the UFC asked Dana White if maybe he could use a room to watch Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
Okay.
And Dana White said, I'll take it a step further. Why don't you go to the game? And Dana White spent, I think, roughly $160,000 to send 4 of us to Dallas for Game 3. Sat right behind Mike Breen and the ESPN broadcast team, right? Best seat I've ever had for a sporting event. I mean, the adrenaline was coursing through my veins. And as you guys may recall, the game was over in 2 minutes.
That's right.
We didn't even have a single basket to celebrate as Celtics fans, and it was a pretty humbling experience. And thanking Dana for that ticket, it's like I didn't even know what to say. It's like, dude, thanks for the ticket. We stayed the whole time, but dude, the game was over in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, not that that's anything for a Mavs fan to hang their hat on, but just know my night was effectively ruined like 2 minutes in. So.
Well, we are glad we had the effect on you, at least for one night when it came to the Celtics. And of course, the Mavericks blew out the Celtics in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. What was 122-84?
He was ruined by a Derek Lively corner 3-pointer.
That's right. That's
Tim
exactly
Hardaway
right.
Jr. just an epic heater.
No, it was already ruined.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
then
that
Tim
was
Hardaway,
third and
like
fourth.
in the fourth quarter, went on, like you said, an absolutely blistering run.
I'm not gonna lie. Game 4, I think the Celtics started out like 8-3 or something in that game, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, dude. Like, this is gonna be a sweep. This sucks. But I'm glad that Dana White wasted a bunch of money.
That's the part that floored me. It was like on a whim, Dana White is like, here's $160,000 to send 4 of y'all to the NBA Finals to go watch Game 4 there.
Glad it went to waste.
And it went clearly to waste for him and his crew there. But
How much of that $160,000 did I see? Not a cent.
No.
But did I get a playoff bonus for that? Nope. But at least the Mavs staved off elimination for one sweet, sweet night.
Yeah, that would have been tough to not see them at least get one victory in the damn NBA Finals after things were going. But yes, John Anik is the man. Love hearing him on the UFC. He was on the call this past weekend alongside Max Kellerman and Andre Ward.
How do you know? You were there.
What do you mean?
How do you know who was on the call? You watched it with your own eyes. You were there in the house, in the mix.
I talked to the guy who called the fight and found out who was.
Oh, that's who that was?
That's John Anik. I just said the guy
John
that was
Anik.
on the call for the fight.
I know. I'm just,
Who did you think that was?
I'm just. I don't know.
Well, there you go. So you can check out all of that if you follow me on Kevin Gray Sports. Tomorrow on our show, Jeff Teague, Matt Barnes, Dirk Nowitzki all had this in common when they talked about the Dallas Mavericks. So what are we missing? We'll discuss that on tomorrow's show here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Thank you to our guy Marc Stein for joining us here on the program today. Shout out to our guy Tanner back in the studio with us here. That is our Mavericks analyst Bobby Curl. That's our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato. I'm your host Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 p.m. here on DLLS Sports. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.